Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei was the powerful fire dragon slayer mage in fairy tale movie. Before we start, please go support Dragon 180 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistaken character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. My name is Issei, I have 2 conceited sisters, but I'm also part of the best guild of all, fairy tale. The arrival in Magnolia. Issei narrates. Hi, I'm Issei, just Issei. I'm 8 years old. I don't have a surname as such, well, I used to, and it was Hyoudou, but events in my life happened that made me stop using that surname. It all started 2 years ago when I was 6. Everything was happiness during my 5 years until a certain day. Flashback. I was playing in the park with my 2 sisters, Asara and Natalia. They're twins, but that doesn't matter. 2 girls approached. They seemed new to the city. We all know who the menstrual hair and the chart are. Riaz. Hi, I'm Riaz Gremory. Sona. I am Sona Citri. The 3 of us returned the greeting. Everything was going well, we became friends with both of them immediately, the months passed, and our 6th birthday arrived. All our friends, neighbors, and acquaintances came to the party. Everything was happiness. Once the party was over, only my family, my sisters, Riaz, Sona, and I remained at the house. Riaz. Well, now that you've left, we have something to tell you. Sona. But please don't be alarmed. Asara. That's fine, you can tell us with confidence. Sina. They believe in the supernatural. Am I? Not entirely because of the question. Riaz. All of that is real. Hi. Seriously. Sona. Yes, and we'll prove it. They both unleashed their demon wings, surprising the Hyoudou family. Riaz. Well. Natalia. I don't know what to say, to be honest, I was surprised. Asara. Me too, I was surprised. Issei. Wow, that was amazing. Sona. What we were getting at. They told him everything about the features. It should be mentioned that when they found out everything, they were more than impressed. Riaz. Now that you know the truth, we would like to make you a proposal. Asara. Proposal. Sona. You'll see, when we're older we'll have our own pieces, and we'd like you to be part of our entourage. Natalia. I'd like to. Asara. Okay, I accept. Sona. Good, now that we detect a sacred gear aura in you, we'll tell you which one you have. Riaz. You, Natalia, possess the Dragon Queen Tiamat. Riaz. And you, Asara, possess one of the 13 Longinus, the augmented gauntlet, or also the booster gear that encloses one of the 2 celestial dragons. Both of them became quite excited upon hearing that they possessed powerful objects. Issei. And I possess. Sona. You have nothing. Issei. I see sad. Then flashback. From that day on they began to torture me simply for not possessing any sacred objects like my sisters. I'm in my room waiting to be tortured because today is my 8th birthday. Issei. Another year like this, all because of them. The door opens, revealing Issei's family along with Sona and Riaz. Hi. Ready, trash. Am I? I hope this time they're even more racist than last time. Sona. If you resist, we have a surprise for you. They began to torture him in the worst way, with Riaz, Sona and her sisters throwing magic at him, his parents whipping him, and several other things. A couple of hours later, Issei is seen lying on the floor of the room in his own pool of blood. Am I? He resisted. Natalia. I'm surprised he resisted. Enough please. Hi. Shut up, trash kicks him. Riaz. Since you endured everything, it's time for your gift. They teleport to the forest. Asara. What are we doing here? Sona. It is said that a dimensional rift appears in this forest every 13 years. Natalia. Oh, I understand now. We'll send him through that rift so he dies. Riaz. Yes. Am I? I like the idea, you heard, trash. With this, I'll only have my 2 daughters and not a nuisance like you who's good for nothing. Before them appears that dimensional rift. Hi. Goodbye nuisance. They throw Issei's badly injured body into the rift and the moment he enters, the rift disappears. Elsewhere. A certain pair of friends were in the woods heading out to fish. Happy. Natsu, hurry up, I'm hungry. Natsu. Okay. They were walking until they noticed something falling from the sky at high speed. Natsu. What is that? Happy. I don't know, wait, it's a child. Upon hearing that, Natsu lunges to catch him. After the impact of Natsu and the child. Happy. Are you okay, Natsu? Natsu. Yes, but not the child looking at how his body was covered in serious injuries. Happy. What do we do with it? Natsu. I don't know, but we should take him to a doctor. Happy. Okay, let's go. 3 days later. We see how that child began to wake up. Upon doing so, he noticed that he was in a strange place. Issei. Where am I? Natsu? I see you've finally woken up. How are you feeling? Issei. Hi. Who are you? Natsu. You know, it's rude to ask someone's name without introducing yourself first. Issei. Oh, sorry, I'm Issei. Natsu. The pleasure is all mine, and my name is Natsu with his typical smile. Issei. Could you tell me where I am? Natsu. In the hospital. Issei. I know I'm in a hospital, what I meant was, in what part of the world? Natsu. Oh my mistake, you're in Magnolia, home of the best wizard guild, fairy tale. Issei. Magnolia, I've never heard that name. Natsu. What, where did you come from, kid? Issei. The truth is, I was sent through some kind of dimensional rift. Natsu. I don't really understand you, but tell me, are you hungry? Issei was going to say no, but his stomach growled with hunger. Natsu. That tells me everything. They left the hospital, and as they walked Natsu was telling her everything about his friends' guilds, etc. Natsu. We're here. Issei. Fairy tale. Upon entering, Issei was startled to see everyone fighting each other and decided to hide behind Natsu. When everyone realized Natsu had arrived, they were going to continue fighting, but they noticed a child behind him, so they decided to stop. Look. Oh Natsu, you never told us you had a son, and a very cute one at that. Lucy. That's right. Natsu. He's not my son, he's the boy I told you about. Mira. Oh, okay. What can I do for you? Natsu. Well, Issei is hungry, so I brought him here. Look. Well come on Issei, is your name right? Issei. Yes. He approaches Mirahin. Mira. And you sure want the house to treat you? Issei. Can I have a slice of strawberry cake please? Everyone. Issei. Did I say something wrong? Gray. It's not just that he was interrupted by Urza. Urza. That cake is all mini. Issei. I am sorry, I didn't know scared. Look. Come on Urza, it's just a slice, besides look at him, he doesn't look like he's eaten in a long time. Urza. Okay. Look. Here you go, enjoy. Issei. Thanks. A while later. Natsu. And your family? Upon hearing that, Issei lowers his head and begins to cry. Natsu. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Urza. And why are you crying? Issei. Sniff sniff sniff, my family is cruel. Everyone. What? Urza. Can you tell us? Issei. Okay. Issei tells them everything about how they tortured him, how they left him without food, all because he didn't possess a sacred object, and how they threw him through that rift. Everyone who heard what the little boy told them was furious and wanted to destroy the group that called themselves the boy's family, but they managed to calm down. Makarov. That was truly sad. Urza. Master, how long have you been here? Makarov. From the moment the little boy began to tell his story. Issei. Well, I'd better go. I don't want to be a bother. Makarov. No way, as I see you have neither a home nor a family. Issei. But. Makarov. But nothing, I don't know who to send you with. Urza. With me. Look. No, he's coming with me. Lucy. No, he'll come with me. Thus the women began to fight over which of them Issei would be sent to. Natsu. This got ugly. Makarov. That's enough, I've made up my mind. Girls. And who will take care of Issei? Makarov. Considering that he will need a family, I have decided that Urza and Natsu will be in charge of raising and caring for Issei. Everyone. What? Gray. Hahaha, potato flames. Natsu. I'm so jealous, Ice Princess. Gray. What did you say, Torch? Natsu. What you heard, little princess. Natsu and Gray were about to fight, but Makarov stopped them. Makarov. That's enough, you two. And you, Natsu, go get your house ready, because Urza is going to live with you and Issei. So Issei, along with his new family Natsu and Urza, went to live together. End of chapter. Back to DxD. 1 year after Issei's arrival at Fairy Tale. 3 people and a cat were seen sleeping peacefully in a room, but their sleep was interrupted by the sun's rays entering through the window. Issei. Another day. Happy. Issei, let's go fishing. Urza. Good morning Issei, happy, I'll go prepare breakfast. Issei. Okay, mom. Urza simply smiles at her son and heads to the kitchen. 30 minutes later. We see Urza and her new family having breakfast peacefully. Natsu. Are you ready, Issei? Today your training to become a dragon slayer begins. Issei. Yes, Dad, I'm more than ready. Natsu. That's the spirit. Urza. And not only that, I will train you too. Issei. Wusu, thanks mom. I've heard you're stronger than Dad. Urza. Haha, yes he was, but as time went on your father got stronger. Natsu? Thanks, honey. After breakfast, we see Issei practicing the basic magic control that Murahin taught him. Issei. I'm happy. My life has changed a lot since I arrived here. I still remember how my parents didn't get along very well at first, but as time went on, they were able to confess their feelings. Flashback. A week has passed since Issei arrived at Fairy Tail, and things haven't gone so well, since Natsu's house wasn't suitable for the three of them, so everyone in the guild helped remodel it to make it a decent place to live. Several months passed and my life was improving because I no longer saw the members of Fairy Tail as strangers. Now I see them as a true family. I even consider the master like a grandfather. But that wasn't the only thing that happened. My father and mother finally confessed their feelings, which they had kept well hidden, although the guild didn't expect that news. And guess what? They both got married and adopted me. That truly makes me happy. End of flashback. Issei. I really can't ask for anything more. The XD dimension. It has been a year since the chestnut-haired boy's former parents threw their son into that dimensional rift. At first everything was happiness, but as time went by they noticed that something was missing, that was their son brother, but there was nothing they could do since that crack appears every 13 years. Issei's former parents narrate. It's been over a year since we threw our son through that dimensional rift and you can't imagine how much we regretted. He was our son, but what did we do? We pushed him away, tortured him, and even kicked him out of our family. What kind of parents are we? Just because we preferred our daughters who possess sacred objects and because of our damned ego, we lost our son. End of story. Sniff sniff sniff, don't worry my baby, once that crack opens I'll come looking for you myself. I should never stop seeing her as my sister. Narration by Issei's ex-sisters. It's been over a year since we threw our little brother into that chasm and who knows if he's still alive, but we believe he is. He's strong. We are to blame along with Riaz and Sona. How we wish we could turn back time and prevent all the suffering of our parents. We should have protected him since he was just an ordinary human like our parents, and what did we do? We used our power to hurt him and even threw him into that rift and we wait for the day it opens so we can go and rescue him. End of story. Asara. Sniff sniff sniff, don't worry Ice, I'll come and save you myself from wherever you are. Natalia. Sniff sniff sniff, now I realize what I did along with the others, I separated our family, but no matter how I will reunite it. Fairy Tail dimension. 10 years later. We see a young brown-haired boy of approximately 17 years old entering his guild with his family. Issei. Are you sure? Urza. If it's your first mission, I wouldn't miss it for anything. Issei. Thank you mom. Natsu. I'm proud of you. Never forget that. Issei. Thank you, dad, and I'm happy to be your son. Ne. No, thank you for coming into our lives, son. Issei. And happy. Natsu. He went on a mission with Wendy. Issei. Oh, it's because of that cat, right? Urza. Yes, I don't know how, but I managed to win her over. Tsu. I'm also happy for him, he finally found his soulmate. Issei. That's right. Lucy. Brother, do you promise you'll bring me a present? Lucy is a 5-year-old girl who looks very similar to Urza, except that she has pink tips on her hair. Lucy is a 5-year-old girl who looks very similar to Urza, except that she has pink tips on her hair. Issei, of course Lucy. Lucy? Yes. Issei. You still remember her, Dad's sad. Natsu? Yes, sad. Urza? She was a great friend, sad. Issei. The sister I always wanted, sad. Natsu? But I know that wherever he is, he always watches over us. I.e. if she will always take care of us. Issei. Well, I should go. Ne. Take care, son. Issei. I will. And so Issei heads off on his first mission as a fairy tale wizard. The days passed and Issei continued doing missions. We meet Issei and his family along with Wendy on a picnic in the same forest where Natsu and Happy found Issei. Urza. This is what I always wanted, peace and quiet to spend time with my loved ones. Wendy. Yes, this is nice. Natsu. I still miss the days when we destroyed everything on missions. With E. Haha yes, we always cause problems for the teacher. Natsu. Haha yes, those are some memories. Everything was interrupted as a dimensional rift appeared in front of them. Issei. Is it perhaps? Natsu. What's wrong? Issei. It's the same rift I arrived at 13 years ago. Happy. Natsu, I'm scared. Natsu. Don't worry, nothing will happen. Issei. They think we should cross it. Urza. I don't know. Natsu. It's a new world, so. Natsu runs off in the direction of the rift and the others follow him. Once everyone has crossed, the gap closes. The XD dimension. All those who sent Issei through the rift were gathered waiting for the rift to appear. Once it appeared, they were about to cross it, but the rift expelled several people, including a chestnut-haired man whom they immediately recognized. Urza. Natsu, you're an idiot because crossing you was dangerous. Natsu. I'm sorry, honey. I just wanted to find out and then I'd come back. Issei. This is my dimension. Urza. What? Wendy. Look, we're not alone. Issei. It can't be, they are. End of chapter. Facing my past. Issei. No, it can't be them, he said, surprised by the people in front of him. Urza. What's wrong, son? Do you know who they are? The Redeed would ask. Issei was about to answer, but one of the people standing in front of them interrupted him. Son, would say the voice of a brunette woman familiar to the brunette. Issei. Never call me son again because I will never consider you a mother to me, the brunette said seriously and with some hatred in his words. Those words spoken by the chestnut-haired man made the woman feel as if someone were squeezing her heart and she burst into tears. Isara. Why are you saying that to our mother, the brunette would say, sounding annoyed. Issei. Hahaha, our mother, you're confused, she's your mother, because I would never, ever consider her that, the chestnut-haired boy said, annoyed. Hi. But what are you saying, son? We are your family, the older chestnut-haired man would say. Natalia. Brother, we're family, the girl would say, trying to approach him, but a wall of fire would form in front of her. Natsu. Don't come near, stranger. Hi. Please son, come back. You are a Hyoudou, you are my son. Issei. Mr. Hyoudou, I will never be your son, the brunette said with hatred. From the moment I was sent to that dimension 13 years ago, Issei Hyoudou died. I am Issei Dragneel Scarlet, a fire dragon slayer and a fairy tale mage, the brunette said proudly. Those words devastated the Hyoudou family, and they simply lowered their heads as tears welled up in their eyes. Sona and Riaz approached because they didn't like seeing their family members. Issei, they would both say. Issei. And what do you want, demons, the dragon slayer would say with hatred. No, we wanted to ask you, for they were interrupted by Issei. Issei. I'm not interested in your apologies. Riaz. Issei, for everything I've done, I'll let you join my entourage, the Redeed said with a smile. Sona. No, he will not join my entourage. I want his forgiveness more than anything. Issei. Hahaha, I wouldn't join one of your little bags, not a chance. I'd much rather be sent back through that rift than join one of you, the brunette would say. Riaz. But why? Issei. Because I don't like you. You're a spoiled brat, among other things. Issei turns around and walks back to Natsu and the others. Issei. Let's go, we have nothing to do with you here. Issei and his family retreated from there, leaving the two demons devastated, but those who were most devastated were the brunette's ex-prince. Meanwhile, the Dragneels were walking through the city's extensive forest until Urza decided to speak. Urza. And now what, how will we return to our dimension? Issei. I don't know, we just have to wait 13 years until that rift opens again. Natsu. Damn it. Wendy. What? 13 years old. Happy. And now what? Issei. I don't know. Charlie. We have no money and nowhere to stay. You shouldn't worry about that. Everyone who turned around would be shocked because in front of them was none other than Lucy, but the first to come out of shock would be Issei, who quickly went towards her and gave her a hug while crying on her chest. Issei. Sister, is that you? The boy said while crying. Lucy. Yes, little brother, it really is me. Natsu and the others were still in shock, but after a few minutes, the first to react was Natsu himself, who quickly ran to where Lucy was and gave her a hug. Then the others followed suit, repeating the action of the two of them. Natsu. But you're still alive, we clearly saw you die. Lucy. I don't know either. The only thing I remember is waking up in a forest and walking for several days, months, looking for Magnolia, but I never found her until I arrived in the city and asked where I was, and they told me Kuoh. Issei. That can't be, that means. Lucy. If there are more dimensional rifts that connect to our dimension. Natsu. That's good then, if there's a way to get back to our dimension. Lucy. Yes, but let's get out of here. 30 minutes later. Urza. Barry is spacious. Lucy. Yes, I just bought it. Issei. Your apartment is very big, sister. Lucy. Yes, but it wasn't easy to pay for it. Issei. Lucy. I work as a teacher at an academy, and with the salary I earned, I was able to pay for it. Issei. That's amazing. Lucy. Yes, but changing the subject, how did you get here? Urza. My idiot husband crossed the same rift that Issei arrived through. Lucy. I saw it coming. Natsu. Sorry, but you said there was another way to return other rifts. Lucy. Yes, during this time I've been here I've managed to find out that the rift where I arrived opens every year. Issei. Then we must wait a year. Lucy? Yes. End of chapter. Academia Kuoh. It's been a week since the Dragneel family arrived in Kuoh, and things have been somewhat normal, though not entirely, since the supposed family of the brunette have been bothering him and trying to get him to return to them, something the boy always refuses. And to top it all off, his sister Lucy had enrolled him in the academy. At first, he didn't want to go, but unfortunately, he had to since his mother, Urza, also agreed. Present. We see the brunette in front of his new classmates, who looked at him with hatred because they thought he was only there to steal the girls, while the girls looked at him like a prince. Teacher. Very well, young man, introduce yourself. Issei. Well, my name is Issei Dragneel Scarlet, and please don't ask me any questions. Teacher. Okay, you may take a seat. The boy looked at a spot next to the window and sat down. Classes passed normally. During recess, he went to meet his older sister, Lucy, who was bored in the teacher's lounge. Once he arrived, they went to the cafeteria, where they ate peacefully, and the rest of the day was quiet. Urza. Tell me Lucy, do you use magic? Lucy. I don't use it anymore because I'm afraid of demons, fallen angels, and other angels. I'm afraid they'll become interested in my magic, that's why I hide it. Urza. I see. Natsu. Who are the fallen? Lucy. Well, I don't know exactly, but I heard about them in a conversation between Ria's Gremory and Akeno Himejima. Issei. I expected it. Urza. What's wrong, son? Issei. Well, they're at the academy and I imagine they'll come looking for me sooner or later. Natsu. Don't worry son, everything will be alright. Issei. I hope so, because just seeing them makes me want to burn them right there. The days had passed and Friday arrived and Issei was in his classroom peacefully, but he was interrupted by a brunette who didn't want to see her at all. Isara. Is interrupted by the chestnut-haired boy who stood up abruptly, grabbed his things and left the room. This action devastated the brunette, as it showed that Issei didn't want to see her, much less know anything about her and her former family, so she simply left the room sadly, and this was noticed by the brunette's classmates who wondered what had happened, but they decided to remain silent. Lucy. What's wrong, Issei? Issei. Nothing, it's just that Isara tried to talk to me, but I don't want to see her. Lucy. I'm sorry for asking. Issei. No, don't be careless. 1 week later. We see Issei sitting calmly under a tree, eating an apple. Once he finished eating, he got up and headed to his classroom, but on his way he ran into his former sisters, and he simply ignored them completely. This made the brunettes even sadder, and they could only cry in silence. Once the chestnut-haired boy disappeared from the girl's sight, they headed to the occult club. Upon arriving, they noticed that everyone was gathered there, including the student council. Rias. What's wrong, girls? Why are you so sad? Natalia. Issei hates us, and he really does, the girl said, starting to cry along with her sister. Akeno. I don't understand, what's so special about that boy? Rias. Akeno keep silent. The girl would simply remain silent, but her other pieces, including Sona's pieces, would ask themselves the same question, and something told them that they wouldn't like the answer. The days went by, and Isara, Natalia, accompanied by Rias and Sona, tried to approach the brunette, but he completely ignored them to the point that their admirers became annoyed with the boy. On one of those days, they tried to hit him, but Issei, with a simple look that promised much pain, stopped them out of fear. And right now, Rias was apparently talking to someone in the club. Rias. I've already told you that I'll never marry that guy. Understand this, it's not a question of whether I want it or not, this is already fixed. Rias. I don't give a damn if it's arranged or not, I'll marry whoever I want except him. Rias would create a magic circle and disappear from the place, leaving the person alone, and that person would also form a magic circle, disappearing from the place. Issei's room. Issei was lying in his room listening to music when suddenly a magic circle formed in the center of it and a certain redeed came out of it. Rias. Issei, please let's do it. This took the chestnut-haired man by surprise, who was astonished that the redeed knew where he lived, but he composed himself and became serious. Issei. How the hell do you know where I live? Rias. That doesn't matter, just take me, the girl said, starting to undress. Issei. I'll tell you only once, get out of my room you damn bore, Issei said angrily, since it was clear that they were just using him. Such screams would cause the others who lived with Issei to go to his room, and upon arriving they noticed the red-haired girl from the other day half-naked and an angry Issei, so Urza was quickly the first to ask. Urza. What is she doing here? Issei. I asked him the same thing. Before anyone could say anything else, another magic circle formed in the room and out of it came a beautiful silver-haired girl who took Rias, who was in shock from the boy's words. Excuse the inconvenience, the girl said as she took Ria's, and they disappeared into a magic circle. Natsu. What just happened? Issei. I have no idea, Dad. Lucy. Well, I think this is settled now, why don't we go to sleep and forget about this bad time? Everyone. Yes. And everyone went to their respective rooms, leaving Issei alone. Issei. This day was really strange. The next day. Issei was walking through the academy's hallways when he suddenly felt a rather strange magical power, so out of curiosity he headed towards that power. Elsewhere was Lucy, who also felt that magical power, and she too headed to the place, surely her younger brother was also heading there. Once the two arrived at the place, which was the old building, they proceeded to enter, and upon doing so, they opened a door and found themselves face to face with the club members and several other people. Apparently, one of them sent Asara flying, who crashed into a wall, leaving her injured. Asia went to help her, healing her, which surprised both of them because of such magic. Issei. So you're the one who was giving off that power. They all turned in the direction of that voice, and the traitors were even more surprised. Rias. Issei. Asara. Brother. Razor. What are humans doing here? Issei. Nothing, we're just curious about your power. Razor. Who they are. Issei. I'm Issei and this is my older sister Lucy. Razor. I see she's pretty, what do you say if you leave and I stay with her? Lucy. I wouldn't stay with you for anything, and you seem like a despicable person. Such words would anger Razor. Razor. How dare you, you bitch. Razor angrily launched a fireball towards Lucy, who was calm. Before the fireball could reach its target, Issei stopped it with one hand and crushed it at the same time. This surprised everyone, as a mere human was able to stop Razor's energy. Razor. What the hell? Issei. That attack was weak. Razor. What did you say, you bastard? He would surround himself with fire and prepare to launch an attack, but everyone would be surprised to see how Issei was devouring the fire, as if it were nothing. Rias. What was that? Issei. It's simple, I'm a fire mage, not a dragon slayer. Rias. Fire mage, dragon slayer, what's that, the girl would ask. Issei. Something they don't care about, from what I see your specialty is fire, but unfortunately for you I feed on it. Razor. You're interesting, kid. I apologize for my behavior towards your sister. Issei. Hahaha, it's nothing. Lucy. But I still don't like you. Razor. Well Rias, I'll come for you another day. The man and the others would leave the place. Issei. Interesting subject. Lucy. Seriously, brother? Issei. Yes, let's go, this place is horrible. The two leave the place, leaving the club members confused. Ikeno. Ara, that boy is interesting. Rias. Fire magic, dragon slayer, I must definitely add him to my peerage. End of chapter. A new friend, Ravel Phoenix. The days went by and everything seemed calm. Issei was slowly adjusting to life in the city again with his older sister Lucy, who had grown fond of him since he arrived in her dimension. Due to circumstances beyond her control, Lucy couldn't have children, which saddened her, but she persevered. When Natsu and Urza went on missions, she and the other guild members looked after him, especially the Redeed. The days went by, and Rias and her group, as always, tried to convince and apologize to the brunette, something the boy always completely ignored. Urza. How was your day, son? Scarlet would ask. Issei. I, as always, evading the Redeed's group, but luckily Sona seems to have given up, I hope. Lucy. I think it's my fault. Wendy. No, Lucison, we all knew this would happen. Natsu. That's true, but what does it matter? But tell me, son, will you really let Rias marry someone she doesn't want? Issei. I partly do want to, but nobody deserves to be forced to do what they don't want to do, much less be forced into marriage. Urza. That's true, so what will you do? Issei. I don't know, mother. The next day. We see Issei walking calmly through the city streets, having gone out to clear his head a bit. But what he didn't know was that he was being watched by a very beautiful young woman. This girl kept her distance because she didn't want to be discovered, or so she thought. Issei walked calmly, without arousing suspicion from his stalker. Issei. There it is again, that presence that has been following me this week. The strangest thing is that the power it emanates is similar to that of that subject. Could it be one of his members? The brown-haired boy thought. Issei would move to a place where there weren't many people, and he decided to mask his fan. Issei. I know you're there, come out now. Don't force me to use force, Issei said as he wrapped his fists in flames, surprising the girl. The girl, having no other option, came out of her hiding place, and when she did, Issei was surprised since he never thought that the subject was a beautiful girl. Wow, you're impressive. I never thought you could detect my presence. Tell me how you did it, because I can see you're not your average human. Issei. Wow, so many questions coming from such a cute girl, but first of all, you haven't told me your name. My name is Issei. The girl had noticed that small detail and was embarrassed by it. Oh, I'm sorry, the girl would say nervously while playing with her fingers. My name is Ravel Phonex. Issei. Nice name, by the way, you're one of the members of that guy from the other day, I remember you perfectly. Ravel. If I am his bishop. Issei. I see, answer this for me, did I send you to watch me or something? Ravel. No. I came on my own. Issei. Seriously, and why would you do that? Ravel. Well, I'm interested to know how you did that the other day. Issei. What do you mean? Ravel. The way you ate fire, no human can do that. Issei. You mean that, well let's just say my magic is special. Ravel. Special, what do you mean? Issei. Well, since you answered my questions, I suppose I'll return the favor, but before I do, what I'm about to say will stay between us. I see you're a good person, I'll trust you, Ravel. Ravel. Okay, it'll just stay between us, Issei. Issei. Fine. An explanation later. Ravel is seen stunned and at the same time very angry with a certain brunette and even more so with Ria's Gremory. Ravel. I apologize, on behalf of my race. Issei. Don't worry, I don't hate your race, just them. Besides, you had nothing to do with this. Ravel. But still, I must do it. Issei. No, you shouldn't pay for what she did. Ravel. Okay, in exchange for that, I don't know if you'd like to be my friend, so I can pay you back for all that damage. Issei. I have no problem with that, Ravel. Ravel. Well, the girl would say as she approached him and at the same time gave him a hug. Ravel, realizing what she had done, quickly pulled away and blushed deeply. Ravel. I am sorry, I didn't mean to. Issei. Don't worry, it was nothing. Ravel. Well, what do you think if, in honor of our friendship, we go out one of these days, I don't know, for a cup of tea? Besides, I've been baking cakes lately, Ravel said, blushing deeply. Issei. Haha, okay, I'd love to try one of your cakes. Ravel. Well, I think I should go, but before I go, take. She hands him a strange piece of paper. Issei. What is this? Ravel. With this we can communicate, now goodbye Issei. The girl would form a magic circle and disappear from the place, leaving only the chestnut-haired boy. Issei. A new friend, she is definitely different from those two. The boy would also leave the place. End of chapter. Rating game. When Issei arrived home, he was scolded by an Urza who was furious because her son had left without saying anything, but she calmed down after hearing what had happened with the Phoenix girl. Urza. Oh well, I apologize for my behavior, son, but as always I'm worried about where you are, especially with those demons here. I'm already tired of you attending the academy. Issei. I know, and you have nothing to worry about. I would never ally myself with them. Natsu. So that means you've already decided about that engagement, right? Issei. Yes, and ultimately I'm not going to help her. This is her problem, not mine. Besides, maybe this will teach her to mature. She seems spoiled. In other circumstances, maybe I would have done it, but not this time. Urza. Okay son, we will respect your decision. Issei. Well, see you tomorrow. The next day. In the Redeeds Club, everyone was doing their tasks, but suddenly a magic circle formed in the center of the room, surprising those present. Makeup. Grayfia. Grayfia. Hello Miss Rias, well by order of the Demon King and at the request of Lord Razor, you and your entourage will have 10 days to prepare, as after the deadline a rating game will be held between both entourages. Rias. That's it. Grayfia. It's the best we could do, I'd better train. Rias. Yes, that's fine. Grayfia. With your permission, good luck. The girl would leave the same way she arrived. Phoenix Mansion. A certain Redeed was seen walking through the mansion. The girl appeared to be deep in thought. Ravel. I wonder if Issei will participate in the rating game. I'd like to see him again, the girl said, her voice filled with emotion. Ravel hadn't noticed that he was being watched by another woman older than him. Daughter, what are you thinking about? Upon hearing those words, the blonde girl came to her senses. She recognized whose voice it was. Ravel. Mother. LPE. What's wrong, daughter? You seem more thoughtful than usual. Ravel. It's nothing, mother, it's just that. LPE. Don't be afraid, you can tell me, you know you can count on me for anything. The girl would sigh, Ravel would begin to recount what the brunette had said, after several minutes the face of the matriarch Phoenix said it all, horror, sadness and an endless number of other feelings. Right now she was doubting whether her son's engagement was really a good idea, but if she wanted to intervene, it would be useless, since such an engagement was agreed upon by both houses, but above all the older blonde was asking herself this question. Will Venelana and Zeodicus know what their daughter has done? Ravel. I think it was a bad idea to tell you. LP. No, daughter, on the contrary, you have helped me to reflect and above all I feel sadness for that young man. Ravel. You're right, mother. LP. Well, go and get ready because the rating game is in a few hours. Ravel. You're right, mother. Hours later. Everything would be somewhat similar to the anime, only this time Razor had another objective besides having Rias in his harem. The blonde also wanted his queen and the Sekiryuutei. Meanwhile, in the human world, the Dragneel family is seen in the city park. Lucy. Mom, can we go to that game? Urza. Okay. Natsu. Are you sure you're not going to help her, son? Issei. Yes, Dad, that's my decision. I don't owe them or the Hyoudou family anything. Natsu. Okay son, let's not think about that anymore and enjoy this day. While the Dragneel family were having fun in the underworld, the Gremory entourage had it worse, as their first and only rook had been eliminated, along with their queen and bishop. Currently Rias, along with Asara and her knight, were doing everything possible to resist. But their efforts were in vain as both Phoenix brothers, along with their remaining pieces, attacked with even greater ferocity. Minutes passed and Kiba was the first to fall. Both girls were starting to give their all. Their bodies could no longer resist. With each passing second, they reached their limit. After several more minutes, Asara was next, who was defeated by Ravel, who had a certain grudge against her, but even more so against Rias. Irideed was at her limit, her body couldn't take any more. This was pushed out by the younger blonde who took advantage of the situation to gather all the magic she had left in a single attack, which, upon impact with Irideed, made her disappear from the battlefield. Elsewhere, Sirzechs and his wife watched helplessly. They had planned this as a last resort to save their sister-in-law from that tragic fate, but it seemed their efforts had failed. While Razor was celebrating his victory, he didn't notice that Ravel had left the place, and no one from his family had either. Human world. Issei was chatting with his friend who had told him everything that had happened. He didn't care much about what happened to Rias and the Hyoudou sisters. It wasn't that the chestnut-haired boy held a grudge against them. On the contrary, he had already gotten over it and was only grateful that they had sent him to such a dimension, since he thought he had lost everything, but there he managed to gain much more. Issei. Okay, I'll see you in a week. Ravel. Okay, I'll be looking forward to that day. Issei. Yo Igwil. Both boys would cut off communication. The brunette would head to where his parents were playing with little Lucy. Urza. I see that's what happened. Ntsu. In that case, I think he's got it in his head. Urza. I know I understand your pain right now, but as such, that is your punishment. Issei. I hope so. Urza. And tell me, son, what kind of relationship do you have with that girl? The Irideed said curiously. Issei. She's just my friend. Natsu. He seems like a kind-hearted person. Urza. I noticed it too. Underworld Gremory mansion. In one room was Rias, who was crying. Rias. Because the girl repeated over and over again. End of chapter. Baiting and grief. A sunny day, a bright day for the people of Kuoh City, or so it appears in the people who walk the city streets, men and women heading to their respective workplaces, children entering different schools and young people to their respective academies, each starting their daily routine. All of this was happening in total calm, except for a certain apartment where Issei was sleeping peacefully. The brunette had a calm face, until suddenly he woke up abruptly. I'm going to be late, shouted the brunette as he ran through all the rooms of the apartment, looking for his clothes and getting ready for the academy. All this under the watchful eyes of Natsu, Urza, and the others, who only had a bead of sweat on their brows from watching what was happening. Minutes later. The brown blur could be seen leaving the apartment door, running like a bat out of hell, while the same phrase was heard. My brother is such a heavy sleeper, Mom, said a little Irideed who was looking in the direction Issei had come from. He's definitely our son, hahaha, Natsu laughs nervously, remembering what he was like in his youth. Don't even mention it, well time you eat something, Lucy said Urza as she entered the apartment. A little while later, the chestnut-haired boy was seen entering the academy agitatedly. Everyone looked at him in surprise and confusion, since you never see someone enter the classroom by jumping out the window. Damn, I attracted attention. Next time I'll try to wake up earlier, the boy said to himself as he took his seat in his assigned place and acted as if nothing had happened. Hours later. Issei left the academy with a big smile. The brunette had had a great day. He did well on an exam he hadn't studied for, got good grades on several assignments, and most importantly, none of the members of the Crimson Club had shown up to bother him or even attended classes. Definitely a great day. Later I have to go out with Ravelchen. Wait, Ravelchen, since when do I call her that? The brunette questioned, turning red with embarrassment. As Issei walked distractedly, he didn't notice that a female silhouette was stealthily following him. It's interesting, but it exudes a high level of power, says the silhouette. After following the chestnut tree for a long time without being discovered, that figure noticed the chestnut tree entering a building. But he's not the only one. There are more presences with that strange energy, and not only that, the others seem to be stronger than him, says the voice of a surprised woman. I must definitely report this to my superior. These people are dangerous, says the woman as she takes flight, dropping black feathers as she disappears from the scene. On the other side of the city, in a certain brunette's room, she was unconscious after the fight against Razor, and after several seconds she would slowly wake up only to notice a maid standing there, apparently waiting for her. Saracen, I see you've regained consciousness, the maid says seriously. Grayfia, what happened? And the president, we won, Razor was defeated, the chestnut-haired girl asked doubtfully. The familiar Grayfia shakes her head, making the girl sad who can only lower her head. Unfortunately, Ria's lost, and now her engagement ceremony is taking place in the underworld. What a shame, the woman said in her usual cold tone. So what? You mean our effort was in vain, we couldn't save her? The brunette says, shedding tears she couldn't hold back. Not entirely, you all did your best, but Lady Ria's inexperience in raiding games was obvious, so this was already clear. I can only do this. The maid hands a piece of paper to the brunette. If you wish, you can still save Ria-sama, but I must warn you that it will be a Neonan duel. If you are willing, enter at the moment you deem most appropriate and the ceremony will take place tonight. Please make sure you arrive on time, Grayfia said, disappearing from the scene. The brunette stared at the paper for several minutes until she decided to speak. I know you're there, Red Dragon, show yourself, I want to talk, Issei said seriously. The green gem would materialize on the girl's left arm. I hear you, partner, says a deep voice from inside the gem. Underworld Phoenix Castle. In one of the castle's many rooms, we noticed Ria's reluctantly trying on a wedding dress. Sadness was evident on her face, and beside her was her queen and friend, who was trying to calm her mistress. I can only regret never being able to make amends for my mistakes with Issei's family, the crimson-haired woman said sadly. I don't know what happened between you two, but I'm going to help Ria's, not as your servant, but as your friend, and nobody deserves to suffer with an engagement like this, Akeno said with determination. But Akeno, what will you do? The girl asked. You'll see, Ria's, just leave me in my hands. The dark-haired woman disappeared in a magic circle. Human World Kuoh Park. Issei was in a park walking with Ravel, who was informing him of everything that was going to happen that night, every detail. I see, today he officially becomes part of your family, the boy said, sitting down on one of the park benches. Yes, and I would like to ask you if the blonde was nervous. Tell me, what do you want, Ravel? The chestnut-haired man asked curiously. Well, I don't know if you'd like to come with me, you know, so I'm not alone and have someone to talk to, Ravel said shyly. Issei would stand up and look at the phoenix intently, which would make her even more nervous than she already was. I don't want to see the cause of my problems, but I feel I must be there. Anyway, it's not like I have anything better to do, the chestnut-haired man said seriously. Thank you very much, Issei, and don't worry, I won't let that retreat near you. You're my guest, Ravel said with determination and a hint of anger at the thought of Ria's approaching the brunette. The young couple continued their friendly greeting until later, as they both had to separate to get ready for the evening ceremony. The blonde left in a magic circle, and the brunette went home. Hours later. Issei is seen entering an immense castle. As he does so, almost everyone stares at him in surprise, since no one recognizes him or has seen him anywhere. The boy, noticing the stares, ignores them. He only came for his friend, so he begins to look for her. Issei, you came, said Ravel's voice, who could be seen standing behind the chestnut-haired boy. The boy would slowly turn around, only to be mesmerized by the sight of the phoenix and lose himself in the beauty of the young woman, and even more so because the dress she was wearing, according to the chestnut-haired boy, made her look even more beautiful. You look beautiful, Issei said, blushing. Thank you very much, Issei, the blonde said nervously, taking the brunette's arm. It's best to go in, it's about to start, Ravel said as he entered with the brunette who still looked extremely nervous. From a magic circle, Razor would appear and begin to talk about how important the union of the two houses was to strengthen the demon race, something that Issei cared little or nothing about. After several more minutes, Rias would appear from another magic circuit and stand next to the blonde boy, who smiled with superiority. Issei, noticing the blonde's arrogance, became annoyed and prepared to take it away from him in the way he knew best, which was with a few good blows, but before the brunette could act, he would be stopped by his ex-sister who interrupted the party. From here everything would be almost like the anime, except that on this occasion, without the holy water, the drag wielder would lose due to lack of time and power, so Issei would have no choice but to act. Very well, since I see that no one from the Redeeds group can put you in your place, I'm going to have to do it myself, says the brunette, who, thanks to Ravel, would be teleported to the combat arena. Everyone watched in amazement as that stranger prepared to fight the Phoenix Heir, and even Lucifer himself looked at the situation with puzzlement. So it's you, the one from that time, Razor says seriously. Ahaha, I see you remember me, but enough talk, I'm swamped. Everyone watches in amazement as a strange circle forms on the chestnut-haired man's arms, and then they see his fists engulfed in flames. I hope you're ready. Upon seeing this, Razor takes flight with his wings and begins attacking with multiple fireballs, which the fire mage can see being absorbed by the chestnut-haired man. That's it, it's infuriating to think you're a worthy opponent. The chestnut-haired man would leap high, propelling himself with fire, and shout winged fist of the fire dragon, and without warning, he would send Razor crashing to the ground with a powerful punch. Everyone watched in shock as with a single blow, he had knocked the blonde man down without any effort. Isara, who had recovered, was shocked because she hadn't managed to do so much and had barely been able to cause him any injuries. Razor stood up with noticeable injuries and a lot of anger on his face. What are you? You're not an ordinary human. I felt that blow, and I felt it a lot, said the blonde man, expelling his aura which would illuminate the place. I am a fire mage, a dragon slayer, don't forget it, Razor Phoenix. Issei would gather magic in his fists and then propel himself towards the blonde who would not react and would be hit with another fist that this time had left him unconscious. The boy would come out of that dimension and the first to receive him would be Riaz, who was preparing to approach, but upon seeing the look of the brunette she would not. Now Lucifer, we need to talk. End of chapter. The truth is revealed. Sirzechs approached the chestnut-haired boy, who was waiting for him seriously. Everyone at the party was murmuring about what had happened to this boy. They could be heard saying. The defeated Razor with ease, a man muttered under his breath. He will be a member of Miss Gremory's nobility, a woman would say similarly. You defeated Razor Phoenix, I didn't expect this, tell me young man, do you desire something for such an act, the Mage says with a slight smile. I'm not interested in any of you. I did this out of boredom and because I hate arrogant people, nothing more. Issei says seriously. Such a response would surprise those present and more murmurs would begin to be heard. Do you know what this entails, young wizard? Since you defeated Ria's fiancé, that makes you her fiancé now, says the Redeed. The chestnut-haired man would get annoyed upon hearing that, but he would know how to hide his anger. I'm sorry, but I declined the offer. I'm not interested in being with her, Issei says coldly, a coldness that Riaz would feel and that would make her sad. I understand. So what do you want? Did you request to speak? The Mage asks curiously. Riaz, for some reason, would tense up. She knew that if the two of them ended up talking, Issei might reveal what she had done as a child, so she would quickly approach them. Thanks for your help, but the feeling is mutual. I don't know you either, and I wouldn't want to be your fiancé. Brother, let's go, this is over, the Redeed says, extremely nervous. Sirzechs would only be dragged away by the Crimson, Issei for his part would look maliciously, and after seeing how they disappeared, he would approach where Ravel. I think I ruined this party, hahaha, sorry, the boy says nervously. Phoenix shakes her head, no, not at all, this isn't your fault. Isaacin the blonde, noticing the cun in the boy's name, would smile broadly. Excuse me, the girl says nervously. It's okay, well, how do I end up? The chestnut-haired man wouldn't finish his sentence because a woman's voice interrupted what he was about to say. Oh Ravel, here you are, says a blonde woman approaching the couple. Mom, what's wrong? The Phoenix asks her mother. Aren't you going to introduce me to your young friend? The woman said, seeing how her daughter was blushing furiously. Nice to meet you, my name is Issei Dragneel. Issei introduces himself with a bow. The pleasure is all mine, young Issei, you put on a great show, I won't deny that, Ravel's mother says with a slight smile. I apologize for any inconvenience caused. Issei laughs nervously because ever since he was adopted by Natsu and the fairy tale crew, his habit of causing disasters and destruction rubbed off on him. It's okay, thank you very much, it was about time someone brought my son down a peg, hahaha, the blonde's mother laughs slightly. You're welcome, I guess. Ravel watched this with surprise. It seemed that her mother and her friend got along very well. The girl remained lost in her thoughts, wondering if her mother would bring her back to reality. Ravel said that one of these days you must take young Issei out to dinner, says Matriarch Phoenix, greatly surprising the younger blonde. The girl could only nod instinctively and watch as her mother left the place. Ravel would give a slight sigh that the boy wouldn't notice. I don't know what happened, but I'm already exhausted. Ice, do you think we should leave? This ceremony is over, says the Phoenix, heading towards the door. Issei would just nod and limit himself to following the blonde. It was better for now since she had already attracted too much attention from everyone. Meanwhile, a certain dark-haired girl with a large ponytail was about to go to the chestnut-haired boy and thank him for his help to her friend, but when she saw him leaving the room accompanied by Razor's sister, she stopped. Hours later. Ravel and Issei were outside the building where the ceremony had taken place. The blonde had given him a teleportation circle to the human world belonging to her house. "We won't see each other again," the blonde asks her brunette friend. "Sure, that's no problem for me," Issei says with a smile. "Okay, I'll let you know then, also remember that my mother wants to see you again," the blonde says with a hint of jealousy. Okay, the boy begins to be covered by flames and seconds later he had completely disappeared. "He's a very nice boy," the mother's voice interrupts Ravel's thoughts. "Mother, what are you doing here?" The phoenix questions the newcomer. "I went outside for some air. You like him, don't you?" The younger blonde was going to say something, but would be stopped by her mother. "You can't deny it, the way you act around him confirmed it." Ravel would be embarrassed. She was going to say something, but again she would be interrupted by her mother. "I'm not going to interfere in your relationship, but be careful, it's clear he's been through a lot." "I like Issei," Ravel mentally questioned herself, her mind making her imagine what it would be like to be by his side. He a fire mage, she a demon who also wields fire. The idea didn't bother her, but something crossed her mind, what Ria's Gremory had done to her, just thinking about it made her blood boil. "Crimson bitch," the blonde thought angrily. Ravel turned to look at his mother and bravely asked her a question. "Mother, is there a way I can go and study in the human world?" the girl asked anxiously. Ravel's request surprised the matriarch. "What's the reason for this sudden interest?" "I remember you hated the human world." The older blonde questioned her daughter curiously, or rather, she already had an idea, so she wouldn't say it yet. "Well, I'd like to explore," Ravel says seriously, "and with what recently happened to my brother, I doubt he'll return to raiding games." "That's a good point, I'm not promising anything, you'll have to discuss this with your father, it's best to go back," the matriarch says, turning around and entering the building. Ravel simply nods, following her mother's lead. In the chestnut tree's room, he appeared through a sea of flames, lying down on his bed, staring thoughtfully at the ceiling. "I guess my piece is over, the demons will surely come to bother me," the boy says as he slowly falls asleep. The next morning. The Dragneel family was having breakfast peacefully while Issei narrated what happened at the Gremory era ceremony. "How could you do that, Issei? You attracted too much attention from those beings," Urza said seriously, with a look that only promised pain. "Well, Issei, what you did was wrong, but there's nothing we can do now. As ridiculous as it sounds, we must be careful," Natsu says seriously. The others would simply agree with what was said. Lucy and Issei, once they finished breakfast, would leave for the academy. As they walked towards the academy, the older blonde spoke. "So, a little friend, huh?" Lucy says mockingly. "You too, Aunt Lucy, she's just a friend," the brunette says, blushing. "You say that, but your face, the way you spoke about her, tells me something else," the blonde says it with a smile. Issei was going to respond to the blonde's taunts, but he saw how her expression changed to a serious one, and he saw how from one of her pockets, she had one of the zodiac keys ready, and when he looked in the direction his aunt was looking, he saw the reason. The occult club looked at them with some seriousness. "Miss Gremory," would be the words of the celestial mage. The aforementioned woman took a step forward and with a serious look, gazed at the two mages who were already on alert for any possible attack or ambush, but what happened next no one expected, not even Issei himself who was surprised. Ria's Gremory herself, known for her huge ego in the supernatural and great pride, was there on her knees before the two wizards, her head glued to the ground. "Issei, I know that in the past I caused you a lot of suffering, I did horrible things that I blindly believed were right, I even threw you into that portal," but with every word the girl said, tears fell and it was evident as they showed on the ground. "I know I will never get your forgiveness, and look at me now, the same arrogant girl on my knees before you thanking you for freeing me from my cruel fate." Both Issei and Lucy looked at her, the blonde with sadness because of how things ended and, on the contrary, the brunette with mixed feelings. "No, Rias, as much as I hate you for taking away my childhood, I must also thank you because thanks to them I found something better, much more than a family," the boy says, remembering what fairy tale was, his home. Iridide looked confused at the boy's actions, and even more so when she saw how he extended his hand. She hesitated to take it. "Although I still resent you and want to burn you alive, I wouldn't wish what I wished on any woman, no matter how much of an enemy she is, to be forced to marry someone she doesn't love. That's why I did it." Rias was stunned, surprised by the action of the brunette. She hesitated for a moment but took the boy's hand, standing up again and reaching Issei's height. "Take this as a second chance, Rias Gremory, and don't look for me." The boy and his blonde aunt walked towards the academy. Rias stood there, tears running down her face, looking at her hand that had touched the boy's, she told herself. "We would have been in other circumstances. That would be a question that would never have an answer." End of chapter. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.